I think the most important message I could tell people out there is that you don't have to figure it out right away. I graduated from college and tried to apply my degree, my physical attributes, and what I was passionate about to make money. So when all this stuff started to fail, I began to be like, okay, I'm disciplined. Failed that son of a bitch. And as a young man, I'm like, man, I don't have many options that I think the work would be passionate about every day. And those were, as a young man, those were people I grew up idolizing. Right. And the weekend I was going to go from Los Angeles to San Diego to go join, my buddy was like, hey man, you know, we're training to be wrestlers down in Orange County. Do you want to try it out before you go? Like, wow. You can do wrestling? Like, I didn't know there was a school. Right. I didn't know about it. It was very secret. And when we went down to see it, that's when it was like, oh, this is going to be my new hobby. I would work those odd jobs so I could do bodybuilding shows. I would work those odd jobs so I could run speed camps to play football. Now I had a reason to work my odd jobs to do this hobby on the weekends. It's like many people have a job and they can't wait for weekends on the boat. My brother is the one I always use. Loves to work his job so he can spend weekends on the boat. The job is a way to do the thing that he loves. Right. So it wasn't necessarily, I didn't do it to be like, this is how I'm going to make money.
What's the hardest part about auditioning?
Failing. Is the thing. And a lot of the audition process, they're just looking, a lot of it is aesthetic. You know, you see a character in your mind when you read the book, and if the person walks in and they're the spitting image of that character, man, they got a good chance. Right. Anyone can be coachable. If I'm a director, I want to think, if I'm your head coach and I see you and I'm like, man, I think with good coaching, I think we can help this talent. So it's a lot, that's a lot of the audition process. So the shitty thing is failing a lot. Like it is a business of rejection. In baseball, you get to hit 3 out of 10 times, you make the Hall of Fame. Yeah. That's an F. Audition, it's like, God, if you land 1 out of 100, so for some it's 1 out of 1,000. Like you just get rejected all the time. And you're basically being told you're not good enough. Wow. And they kind of don't tell you why. It's just you didn't get the gig. So if you know you need to work on your speed, easy. I'll practice that. I'll get better at that.
But just tell me that. Son, you're not fast enough.
Yeah, you don't
Son, you're not strong enough.
You don't get anything. Right. You just don't get the part.
Son, your routes. You need to work on your routes. Yeah. Son, you need to be able to get on the edge. You need to get skinny.
So,
but when you say, nah, you don't
know what to practice. You know?
I mean, you mentioned a situation, John, that your dad, like, he was very proud of his 5 boys. You guys had done a lot. I'm sure he was proud of you. But he said that when you decided that you were going to move to California, he's like, you're not going to make it. When you had made it, did you call him and say, Dad, I made it?
You know what? No. I'm really working hard, and thank you very much for asking. I'm really working hard on building a great relationship with my dad. He just turned 80 and I love him, and we're starting to like dive into those moments. I can't wait to find out the answer to that question because I'm so happy with where we are. Right. I think for so long I wanted him to call me and be like, yo, you made it. But I still don't know if he was withholding his attaboy. So I kept going for some reason to maybe get it at the last moment. I don't know. The point is I've been able to work on self and let go of the need for his approval, which has been awesome because now we can just live as men and as peers and talk about our own life. You know, I'm no longer a bodybuilder. I just want to preface that. Okay. Sometimes chapters can close. I'm going to retire this year from wrestling. That chapter's going to close. Yes. I listen to nothing.
Really?
I am a huge car guy. So when I get to drive, it's kind of my chance to meditate. Okay. I always try to drive something manual with a stick shift, and I always just listen to the car, man.
Really?
Yeah. And that could be like, I had one rare day off, and you had mentioned that there's a rare. I think we work in the same dimension.
Yes.
I drove around the state of Florida just for shits and giggles. I did 880 miles. I left my house in Tampa, went to Orlando, went around the thumb, went back up, went back down. And as soon as I pulled in my garage, I'm like, whoa, 880 miles, not too bad.
So you just got in the car one day and was like, you know what? Hey, I'm going to do this.
Yeah. I haven't driven in a while. I haven't taken a trip in a while. Okay. I want to be, and not once did I turn on the radio. I left at 4:30 in the morning. I pulled in my garage at 10:30 at night. Stopped for like 3 or 4. I love little coffee shops. Right. Stopped for like 3 or 4 coffees on the way.
Did you talk to anybody? Did you turn the phone off?
At the coffee shops, talk to people.
But then train wreck happens.
Yep.
What was that situation like? Well, I mean, they call you, it's like, okay, we got this role, John. We'd like for you to come down there, read for it, and give this thing a go.
Yep. And I sat in a room with Amy Schumer and Judd Apatow, and I was prepared. We went through the script.
Okay.
And then life handed me an opportunity. Judd said, put the script down and just riff. And we just did. And I wasn't afraid of looking silly, and I wasn't afraid of not being funny, and I wasn't afraid of failing because I was failing all the time anyway. And I got advice from Judd behind the camera of kind of encouraging me to what to say. Amy is an angel. She made the environment so comfortable. And then when I got the part, eventually, and they were like, yeah, it's a sex scene. And we want you to do elaborate and crazy stunt sex. And all those lines you had, we're probably not going to use them. We're just going to do the stunt sex scene. Yeah, sure. Let's do it.
Right.
Be naked in front of everybody? Yeah, no problem. Let's do it. So that also comes with like, well, people are going to laugh at me and people are going to make fun of the way I look physically. Okay, man, let's go. Being okay with self, you know, and okay, this is what this profession is about. Yeah, let's do it. Let's give it a try. No, so when you say that, like, I believe context is very important in conversations. The WWE fair is an understatement. Generous would be a better scenario. I have such a trustworthy relationship with them over 2 decades. I am a champion of the brand. I love the company. It is my home. They are my family. Even after 2025, I've already signed an extension to remain a member of the WWE family for the near, mid, and long-term future.
Gotcha.
I don't think there'll be a beat of my heart where WWE blood doesn't come out of. That said, without them, I don't exist. And I fell into a weird scenario where for a hot second, people were using their real names. Nowadays, people have real sounding names, but it's not their real name, so they can own their real name. So I fell into a weird scenario, and WWE recognizes that. They're very focused on intellectual property, as they should be.
Right.
If I make a song and somebody wants to use The Time Is Now on their commercial and they just steal it, well, that's not exactly fair. There's a huge conversation in the movie business about artificial intelligence. If someone scans me, takes my face, and makes 200 movies in their own accord without giving me anything, I don't know how fair that is.
Which was harder, the sex scene in Trainwreck or sex scene at the Oscars?
The Oscars. Because I got all the people behind the camera of any production, but then I walk out in front of a room of my peers, many of which I've never met because I haven't worked my way up to meet.
Right.
I have the most decorated performers, producers, directors in one room, and I'm going to go out there with my balls in the wind with an index card covering my stuff, being like, hey guys, is this funny? Are we good? Are we all right? That was
How did they convince you to do that?
it was funny. Jimmy Kimmel called me personally. He's like, I need you to come to the Oscars. I'm like, Jimmy, I'm in between stuff. Like, I need some time to recharge. And I know I'm very good with boundaries and self of like, if I just give me 24 hours and I'm back in, I really needed some time. And he's like, just let me send you the bit. And he sent it on paper, and I called him back. I'm like, when do you need me there? It wasn't a thing of like, and I honestly thought I would be more naked.
Right.
I expected full dick and nuts, but it's Disney, so you gotta, I like put tape on my butt crack and stuff. You can't, that was even more embarrassing.
Right.
Like going out there with a taped butthole. Step one, I needed to bust the slump.
Right.
So with all of those things into play, I don't want it, like I said, I want it to be worth it to the audience. So if I come back and push the champion and be like, you and me in a match, the audience will immediately see through that as he just bumped his way to the front of the line, and the guy I watch every week who's earned that spot, he just took it away from him. That's stupid.
Right.
If I win the Royal Rumble, I get an automatic chance. There have been stakes put on the Elimination Chamber. If I win that, I might get an automatic chance at a championship. The Money in the Bank suitcase is a suitcase for a championship match anytime, anywhere. So that's what's cool about doing it over a year. There are these lottery chances where I could be like, yo, he may break the record. If that's even an option, I got to start winning in January, and I might earn a shot by December.
Wow.
And at that point, I don't give a fuck who it's with, as long as I can just get a chance.
Right.
But I also, having been that champion, I respect the process, and I don't ever want to take somebody's spot, man.